Let's see. Today is May 3rd. It is 2:02 p.m. and I call this meeting to order, Fresh Waterways Advisory Board. First, we will do the roll call. Greg, if you can do that, please.
Yeah, we have Steve Borba, Bob Fowl. Hello?
No, Bob Fowle's off the board.
Oh, okay. Phyllis Brown.
Here.
Greg McKay, I'm here. Grant Schaefer.
Here.
Joe Hubacek.
Here.
And Susan Canary.
Here.
And we also have two guests here. One guest is Bob Fowl, and the other is John Pike.
Hi, John.
Hi.
And I guess
Sarah,
we should
do we have
also
anybody else? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I guess we should also call Pam Hewlin.
I'm here.
And Sarah, do we have anybody else who came in?
We do. We have the City Administrator, Scott Anderson, Public Works Director, Nick Bird, and we have two citizens. We have Don Williams and Michael Avilio. And I apologize if I just messed up your last name.
It's a Volio, but everybody messes that up.
Okay. All righty. So just as a reminder for the guests, we are going, during our meeting time, that'll be just between the board members, we'll be able to comment. And there will be a time for public comment after we are done with our new business. And then I will go around to all of the visitors and ask for any comment you may have. But thank you very much for attending our Ocean Shores Fresh Waterways Advisory Board meeting. Okay, so the first business we have is the approval of the minutes of April 5th, 2021 meeting. That was sent out by Greg McKay on Wednesday, April 7th. Do I have a motion to pass the minutes as written?
Phyllis Brown, I make the motion to pass.
Phyllis Brown makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Grant Schaefer seconds. Do all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye. Do I have any nays? Okay, the minutes are passed as written. Okay, next on the agenda is the city planner report. So Nick, is Mr. Reed with you, or are you going to make the comment for the city planner?
He is not here today right now, so I apologize for that. Still trying to dig out from underneath the mountain of permits. As far as stuff to report from him, I don't think we have anything really to report other than the aquatic vegetation control work, which I think is addressed later on in the meeting. So I'll jump in when you want me to then, if that's preferable.
I'm sorry, what did you say? The fresh waterways what?
The aquatic vegetation control.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All righty, thanks, Nick. All right, so next we have on the agenda is the Fresh Waterways Corporation report.
This is Phyllis. We are starting again, and next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday. And so we're back in business, kind of. We've had work parties with clearing more vegetation out of Fish Canal and heading to the entrance of Duck Lake. We've had a total of 7 work parties so far. The city has come and removed 2 truckloads of branches from Grant's property that has been pulled out, and we have a 3rd pile started. Thank you to the city employees who are coming to do that. That is much needed and appreciated.
West Canal is plugged up. It's gonna be another 2 days to work on that yet. Apparently you can't get in or out.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Fresh Waterways Corporation? No? Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so the next on the agenda for old business, aquatic weeds. All right, Nick, so do you want to go ahead and we'll just start off with what you want to talk about, and then we'll go from there.
Gotcha. Okay, so just a reminder, the aquatic vegetation control contract was executed at council a couple of months back. And so, you know, that for those that are unaware, Doug Dorling and Northwest Aquatic Ecosystems, the company that has been facilitating the vegetation control was awarded the contract again this go around. At this stage in the game, the framework is that I believe properties or current properties that are abutting the waterways, you know, it starts with the notification to those properties. And so I've emailed over a framework for, you know, Mr. Dorling to go ahead and package up a letter to provide a notice to all of the adjacent property owners of the you know, upcoming work activities. So again, from a schedule standpoint, the target was, you know, late May, early June is when we're looking towards, you know, application. So working backwards from that, the target is, you know, probably here in the next couple of weeks, you know, there's likely going to be the notification being provided. The team's going to need to get out and you know, facilitate the survey, if you will. You know, we want to be identifying where the vegetation is prior to facilitating application. You know, we don't want to just be running around willy-nilly, you know, applying chemicals. We want to be targeting exactly, you know, what we're shooting for. And so the survey will take place. You know, once that survey is done, you know, they'll provide notification back to us. You know, and I think from a timing standpoint, you know, our next meeting is looks like scheduled for June 7th. And so that's something where I'll probably just need to work with Mr. Borba to facilitate, you know, confirmation, you know, rather than doing, you know, the approval through an actual meeting. So that, I think, is kind of the principal framework of how we're going to be moving ahead, you know, as we get to the application. So again, notifications will be sent out. You know, the you know, survey will be conducted. You know, once confirmation of the application is scheduled, then, you know, postings of the docks, postings of the access points, you know, is going to be done by the contractor as well. And then obviously we'll facilitate the application. And then a few months later, you know, probably in, you know, late July or August, you know, we'll do a post survey. I'll need to go back and check the contract to see if it's, you know, within a month or 2 months. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we'll be following the scope that was identified and approved. So that's the general framework. What did I miss there?
Okay, Phyllis has a question.
So I'm confused on what you're saying about the time frame of everything, especially for the notices. We don't post notices or send out notices until after the survey is done and we've agreed upon what areas are going to be treated. And then we only post notices on those areas that are being treated. So to me, the first step that needs to be done is the survey. Then Doug Dorling giving us back our, going over the results of the surveys with us. And then once we decide where we would like him to treat, then notices go out by hand to the door. And then before Doug does his treatment, he posts on the dock. So we need the survey before we proceed with anything else.
Gotcha. I think the big thing is I need to reach out to Doug to see where we're at, which that has not been done yet.
Right. We need to know when he's going to be here to do the survey.
Steve, this is Susan. May I ask a question?
Yes.
Nick, when you say it is the team that does the survey, who is that goes out and does that?
That'd be Northwest Aquatic Ecosystems. And so I don't know how many individuals he has on his boat. Whether it's an individual and just Doug, or if it's Doug and other people. Others that have been involved in the process before in the past might be able to answer that question better than me. I use that term kind of interchangeably with the staff or individuals. Contractor, I think maybe is the right word that you're looking for. The contractor that will be conducting the survey.
Is there any possibility of citizens who believe their area is the worst? Do they get an opportunity to contact you and say, can you come and look at this and put us on the list?
Well, again, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but traditionally Doug has identified or surveyed everything in the Grand Canal, the Bell Canal, and all of the fingers, as well as Lake Menard. And so traditionally speaking, we're hitting the entire area because we want to see where that vegetation's at. Steve or anybody else, can you guys jump in and provide any feedback?
So exactly. So actually, as what we have talked about, and this was actually part of the RFP, is that we wanted in both of the years, 2021 and 2022, we wanted to have Doug Dorling survey the entire waterway system, all the way from the north to the south of Duck Lake, Bass Canal, Lake Menard, and every single canal that comes off of the Grand Canal. I don't know if he has done that in the past, but I know that at least the last 3 years he has not done the entire waterway system. And I specifically wanted that to be part of the RFP so that we know where we are in both of the years. So I would say that what we need to do, I know that our meetings are only once a month, but we might be able to muster up enough members to get a meeting together before the next meeting, Nick, where we can actually talk about it after the survey comes in. But we do want to have the entire waterway system surveyed by Doug, and we also want to see that survey before we give a recommendation to the city as to where and I know that we are just a recommendation, but to give that recommendation to the city as to where we should have the treatment done. So we've talked about this, Nick, many times, and we absolutely, the city and the board, we want to stay on that firm timeline. And I think we can do that and get the treatment done before the weeds get too out of control. And again, if we have to have another meeting before the next one, I can go out to the board members and we can see if we can get enough mustered up to do that. Does that sound like that would work for you, Nick?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay. All right. So then let's go ahead and let's plan on if you could reach out to Doug Dorling or up to Aquatic Ecosystems, if you could reach out to them and have them do the survey as soon as possible, then that would be very helpful.
No problem.
And yeah, so you there? So did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about on that, on the aquatic weeds? Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about on the aquatic weeds?
Me, no. Thank you, though.
Okay, all right, all right. So now the next thing that we have there on the, well, first of all, before I move on, I want to make sure that all other members get an opportunity to talk about this. So Greg, do you have anything that you would like to add to this?
Nothing more.
Joe, do you have anything you'd like to add? No, I don't have anything else. I think it's a good idea to, like you're saying, to monitor all the waterways. Find out where we're at before we start doing any more treatment. I think that's a good idea. Other than that, I have nothing new.
Do you have anything now at this time, Joe, that you would like to add or have as a discussion about the treatment of the waterways? And if so, please do that.
Well, the only thing I have, I've been working behind the scenes trying to get someone to do some water testing for us. Some people that are professionals rather than, because I don't know enough about it. I don't know if anybody here really knows enough about it. But I've got some folks that do, a guy named Jeff Nelson and Alexa Brown. The state of Washington doesn't have any funds available to help us. I found that out. So they've been budgeted back and they don't have the funds, but there is a volunteer outfit that works for, it would be the Grays Harbor Stream Team is the name of them. And they would be willing to do that, come out and test our waters to find out where we're at. I just got to find a way to schedule it with them. Just to find out the water condition.
Okay, all right. All right, but did you have anything specifically about the actual, since we were talking about doing this right here was just a spinoff from Nick Bird talking about the survey and the treatment. Did you have anything that you wanted to talk about when it comes to the treatment portion of this?
Well, the number one thing is I think that Doug Dorling would have a hard time getting into Bass Canal with any type of monitoring equipment because you can't get in here. And
that's a good point.
So that's the first problem we're going to have. Like I say, I don't think Duck Lake has a weed problem. I don't know about some of the canals, but we have no weeds in Duck Lake that I can find, except in the shoreline. So in answer to your question, I'm not sure exactly how to answer it any better than that. You know how I feel about herbicide, Mitch.
No, and that's what I wanted to do is I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that. So the other board members, so we can all have a discussion. I mean, I know you and I have had many discussions, but just between you and I, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about it since this will probably be the last meeting before there is any kind of treatment.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
No, I understand. I just wanted to make sure that.
I know it's going to be done, and there's not much. You're not going to veer away from that. You guys already kind of voted to have someone do that. It's just to what extent we do it, and that's what. Just looking at that information we get from Doug Dorling would be a determination of how much we do. I always thought that we should have a separate research on the waterway rather than have Doug Dorling do it. That's just my opinion. But If that's not possible, then we have to go with Doug.
Well, I think that might actually, that's something that we can, well, I'll go ahead and ask now. So Nick, what Joe was talking about, more of having, I guess, another biologist take a look at the water for an alternate opinion. Is that something that could be done under the integrated aquatic vegetation management plan? That's something that I know that we're going to do in the future, but I'm just kind of wondering if that's something that could be part of that.
Long story short, yes, that is something that would be part of the integrated aquatic vegetation management plan. But coordinating with Grace Harbor Stream Team seems like a wonderful idea. You know, at the end of the day, it's getting resources out here. You know, and those resources are becoming aware of what it is that we're looking for, and we're starting the process now rather than, you know, waiting for us to have a contract squared away. And not only that, but paying a consultant to come in and do the testing. So getting the stream team involved now seems like a great idea.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you, Nick. Joe, when you were talking about the contacting the Grace Harbor Stream Team, was that from that based upon that email that you sent to me a couple of weeks ago about talking with Jessica at DFW and maybe somebody at Ecology that could help out? Was that what you, is that?
Yeah, that's a spinoff from that. I talked to Steve Ultican over at Department of Ecology. We had a pretty good lengthy discussion about what's going on out here and some of our early algae bloom we're already having. And he thinks there might be something going on there we need to take attention to. But he said, I can't do the testing, that the state of Washington has taken those funds away, so they don't have them anymore. But he goes, there's this Alexa Brown and Jeff Nelson, actually they volunteer through the stream team to help people get water conditions on their lakes and stuff. That's what they do, and rivers as well. I just haven't been able to land a time to talk to her or him. I've got to do that yet. But yes, they can help us.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Joe, for doing that. I appreciate that. And hopefully, you know, if you hear anything from that group between now and the next meeting, please give me a heads up. I'm definitely interested in that. Okay.
I'll give you I'll try calling them again. The guys are busy. I mean, they got a lot of stuff going on, but I I let them know, hey, it's urgent here. We need some help. Help.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotcha. Okay. Alrighty. Hey, thanks a lot, Joe. I appreciate that. Phyllis, do you have anything? We're still on do you have any comment about what Nick was talking about, or did you already cover your comment before? You did? All right. Pam, did you have any comment about what Nick presented about contacting Northwest Aquatic Ecosystems to do the survey and follow-on treatment?
Well, I think a second opinion is always helpful, but other than that, I'm just in the catching up on what's going on phase.
Gotcha. All right. And we definitely love that you're back on the board, Pam.
Oh, me too. Thank you, guys.
Grant, do you have anything on that? No? Okay. All right. All righty. So let's go ahead and move on to the next, which is still under the aquatic weeds, and that would be the harvesting. And I think we probably haven't really made any headway on that from the last meeting. There probably isn't anything new to report.
Well, we've just been doing the branch clearing. We have not harvested any weeds.
But that was just
So we've done 7 work parties just clearing out branches, and we've got probably at least 5 more to go. Yeah. So until we get the branches cleared out, I'm sorry to say there's not going to be any weed harvesting. I mean, it's just too much.
Yeah. And also the weeds are definitely getting pretty heavy there, that penny wort.
Pennywort is getting rid of.
Yeah. I mean, just that little amount that I pulled out in front of your place was like heavy already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had to do something.
Alrighty, so I'll go around just really quick on harvesting. Greg, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Nope.
Joe?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Pam?
No, we harvest what we can when we see it floating in front of our house on fish hook, because fish hook seems to be, when it breaks loose, it just kind of funnels through us out into the lake. So it can be a bit of a mess. But
And thank you very much for doing that.
well, frankly, my opinion has always been that if you're on the waterway, that should be part of your responsibility. But that's my opinion.
Yes. Alrighty, and Grant's you've already talked about, and do you have anything else, Grant?
I've got a comment
Yes.
that with all the branches that were down, we have worked as corporation and board to remove the blockage from the navigation. But the shoreline has still got a lot of branches and stuff that the pennywort is setting up roots. And it's going to be hard to get the pennywort out with all the branches still there. The waterfront owners need to get those branches and stuff off the beaches, out of the water, so we can later remove the pennywort.
I agree with Grant on that one.
Okay. Phyllis, did you have something?
I caught something that posted out on Facebook about a lady who was going out, I guess, on her kayak or something, gathering up small bunches of the pennywort, and it looks like she was over there by the Chancellor Bridge, the old rickety one. And she did have the corporation say, can we get a work party together and get the barge out there? But I think we have about that, but I didn't hear her volunteering to come out there and do it. It's all you guys do it, but the fact of the matter is we're old. We're old and it's heavy. We're old and it's heavy. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. It's like, it's great to say, go do it, corporation advisory board, but it's just, it's not just that.
Yeah.
We're not the only ones out there who, they probably use the waterways more than we do. We're out there because we're working on it all the time.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I tried cleaning up the crossover canal between Bass Canal and Duck Lake, and it ain't no way one guy's gonna do that with a little 12-foot boat. I got halfway in there, and because the trees are down, all of the pennywort and all of the weeds that are being blown in from Duck Lake are all stacked up into the canal now. And if you get in there probably 30 feet, your motor's plugged up with weeds. And I almost got stuck in there when I tried to get in there to hook onto something and pull it out. But I'll be honest with you, I think that probably somebody that's got a lot more clout than us needs to clean that canal out. It's going to be a mess. Some of those trees are pretty good size. And where are you going to drag them to and pull them out of the water at? It's like, almost need somebody that's equipped to do that.
Just like we did last time when we cleared the entrance to Bass Canal.
Yeah, we're gonna get in there. That we'll come up with a day. Yeah, we'll come up with a.
I'm sorry.
We'll come up with a day to do a workum party, and we're gonna get in there. I know that you scoped it out. I have. Grant has. John Pike has. So we're going to get in and we're going to do what we can to clear it out. And if there's something that's a little bit too large, then Nick, you may get a phone call from me. All right. So the next that we have is water testing. And I know we've already talked a little bit about that. But Joe, and I know that we as a group have not started the pH, the dissolved oxygen, et cetera. We haven't actually started doing that yet. But does anybody have anything that you'd like to add at this time about the water testing? We'll start, Phyllis.
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
The only thing that I would question is our machine is one that the city had purchased that they kindly let us use to do the testing because they just turned it over to us to do, which is what we've been using. So if you're not trusting our numbers, it's a machine that's approved, city purchase. I'd like to know what the other machine is that the other people are using before they waste their time coming out here, because they're going to get the same numbers as what we would if they're using the same machine. Or they should get the same numbers no matter what, whatever machine. We've been doing it for a while. I'm not saying don't have them come out. I would just like a heck of a lot more information on the ones who are going to be using it and what equipment they're going to be using, and are they going to be testing the same areas as what we have tested, because otherwise their numbers aren't going to mean anything. Well,
so then I think what we probably just need to do is Joe, when you hear anything from the Grace Harbor Stream team, again, if you could just contact me, and then we'll come up with a plan to talk with these folks and see what how they would tackle it, the equipment they would use, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well,
It should be easy to do that.
Whoever came up with this water test, and I appreciate it. It looks like somebody put a lot of work into it.
A lot.
I do appreciate the numbers. I did read some of the numbers off to the guy at the ecology, and he said some of that dissolved oxygen numbers are way, way too low. And he doesn't know, I can't really tell by the report where it was taken at or when it was taken at. So I'm a little, maybe if someone could explain to me more how it's going, because I've got like 2 or 3 pages, I think that it's like one, it's just hard to tell. But bottom line is some of the dissolved oxygen ratings are really low, which will affect fish and how well they can survive. Anyway,
all right.
That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. But just again, when you hear anything from them, if you could just give me a holler so that we can talk with them, or I don't know, maybe even get a Zoom meeting or something with them. That would be very helpful, I think.
Yep. I mean, that's what these guys do that's what they do. I mean, they're like professionals.
Good deal. All righty. Greg, do you have anything?
Nope.
Grant, anything on the water testing? Okay. Pam, you have anything on water testing?
No, other than the corporation has been doing this for years, faithfully.
Okay. Okay. All righty. So the next we have is the aquatic plant management. I left that on there as old business, Nick, but I think I'm going to go ahead and I'll keep it on there one more time until we actually do the survey. But that kind of all just fell under what you gave us a good brief over. All righty. So then the next thing we have on the agenda is the North End Grand Canal project.
Yeah.
And again, like we talked at the previous meetings, the Fresh Waterways Advisory Board, we're going to keep that on our old business, on the agenda as old business. And I appreciate both Nick and Susan at the last meeting, assuring us as a board that the city has not forgotten about that project, nor will they. But we want to keep it there just to, you know, dot I's and cross T's and make sure that that project is put into action after the state authorizes public meetings. Okay, so new business. All right, so now we know that, so this is, the new business is about board officers. And we know that we typically pick the vote for the new board officers in June of every year, which would be our next meeting. However, what I would like to do is I'd like to make sure that we get a full complement of board members, the full 7 board members. And then we can have all board members do a nomination for chair and co-chair and the secretary. And then we could, at that same meeting, we could also go directly to a vote. I know that I am fine, as far as me, I'm fine with going another month with that, but I want to know what all the other board members feel about that. And are you guys okay with extending it until we get our 7th member on the board? So I will go around and I'll just let everybody have their opinion. Okay. And then let me know how you feel about that. Phyllis?
I agree.
You agree? Grant?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Greg?
When are we going to get our 7th member? Is that anywhere on deck?
Yeah, that will be at the next meeting, June
Okay,
meeting.
so we do have a 7th then. Okay, then I'm fine.
Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said, sir.
Then I'm fine with going another month.
You're fine with that, okay. Joe? Joe, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I didn't know you asked for me. Yep, it's fine with me.
Oh, you're okay with it. And Pam?
I'm good.
All right, good. All righty. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. All right. So now we are going to go ahead and go to public comment. And we'll start off with Bob Fow.
Hello, everyone. Feels a little strange to me. A first time in 10 years, I've been a guest rather than part of the board. It's been a very enjoyable experience for me. I've made some great friends. I think I've contributed to the community.
Yes,
I
you
have nothing to add to this meeting. I think it was a good meeting. Thank you.
John Pike.
Oh, I just want to go back a little bit to the weed. Excuse me, to make it brief. As far as, okay, I actually live on Duck Lake, north of the entrance to Bass Canal, straight west of Overlake Bridge. I have recently cleaned out Pennywort. I've recently cleaned out Parrot Feather in my lot. The lots north and south to me have it growing out into the lake. I have seen islands the size of New Jersey floating by. There is an issue in Duck Lake.
Okay. Thank you, John. All righty. So we will go to Don Williams.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon. I just wanted to say the board's doing a good job. And one of the things I was in a meeting, actually I was in Susan's Community Voices meeting, I think this morning, and she may have some things to say, but one of the things that came to mind is that it hasn't been discussed recently that the Fresh Waterways Corporation, I think at one time they had some rakes you could borrow one of these very large rakes. I have one on a rope. I believe they had two to be loaned out, and they're very effective. I throw it off my dock, and it's a great big rake just made for this purpose, and it just hauls in the weeds. And I haven't heard anybody discuss that as being available this year. So I hope if it is, that you'll make a notice with the city, especially maybe with Scott Anderson, to put into his newsletter and explain what's going on. Second of all, as I recall back from the February meeting, I think it was, there was going to be 3 different studies done. And I think the first one was the aquatic study that has been done and is out. But are there 2 more that are pending? And I looked through my notes and I can't zero in on what the titles of those were. Wasn't there a water condition study that was included? These were the things that were paid for by the increase in the drainage rate that was done earlier in the year. So I'm just wondering, what are those 3 studies? Please remind me, and what is the status of the ones that have not been started yet, and when do you expect to see them? And please make a note about the rate. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you very much, Don. This is Steve, the chair of the advisory board. I will address your first about the rake. The rake I have at my property right now, and anyone can borrow that if you contact me. I can make arrangements for you to pick that up from me. And I will, Scott, I will send you information about the rake, including a picture of it if you'd like. And you can put out to the city that if folks want to use it, then they can come and pick it up. As far as your second issue, Don, I'm going to go ahead and Nick, if you can take that on. I don't know what he's referring to about the increase in the bill and doing surveys. Can you help out on that one?
Yes, sir. So I believe what he's referencing is the stormwater rate increase at the end of 2020. The stormwater rate increase did include 2 other plans. One is the stormwater master plan, and the other is the integrated aquatic vegetation management plan, which we referenced earlier in this meeting. Neither of those documents or, I guess the consulting services for those documents have been initiated yet. So we're in a holding pattern, and hopefully we'll be able to get to it soon, but it's workload dependent. So those are the other 2 documents that were referenced.
All right. Don, was that helpful to you, sir?
Yeah, could he repeat them one more time? And also, I thought there was more than 1 rake. There was 2 at one time. But please have him ask if he can repeat it again so I can write it down. I'm not recording this one. Thank you.
Nick, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, no problem. The stormwater master plan. And so that's the evaluation of the entire stormwater system. And the secondary item is the integrated aquatic vegetation management plan. And that's an update from the one that was done a number of years ago.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
That.
Thank
Great. Thank you, Don. All righty. And Michael, sir, do you have a comment or a question for the board?
Well, I kind of got several questions. I'm a citizen of Ocean Shores. I live on Mount Olympus, and I'm on the waterfront here on the Grand Canal. I've been fighting that what do you call it, pennywort since I've been here. And as of now, my bank is totally clear of it, but the rental houses on both sides of me aren't. So eventually it grows over and I have to clean it out. It's an ongoing problem. But outside of that, I have a citizens action group here in town, been together for 3 years. And the water condition is number 2 on our list. And we're going to get really active with it. So first thing I want to ask you is we'd like to have a representative from your group come and talk to us. Now we meet in person every Wednesday at the Lions Club. And I don't know if one from your group would be interested in talking to us about our problems in the water or not. But if there is, we'd like to find out who that is. so they'd come talk to us and answer our questions. I like some of the things Joe.
What time is that, Mike?
It's 1 o'clock on Wednesdays. Joe Hubasek there had some pretty good ideas, so I wouldn't mind talking to him. But that's one issue. And we have lots of questions, like we're trying to get the MSDS for this chemical they're going to spray on the ivy for this year. We cannot locate that MSDS. And we were told there's an ingredient in that MSDS called WTD, and it's a carcinogen. I don't know if that's true or not, because we can't get a hold of the MSDS to check it out, but I was wondering if someone in this group is aware of that and has some information on it.
Steve, do you mind if I jump in here?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
Okay, so the chemical usage traditionally isn't 100% defined until we, decide to move forward. And so I've actually never heard of WTD. Do you know what the trade name is, just out of curiosity?
No, I don't. I was just told WTD was what we had to check into.
Okay, so I do have a list of what we utilized last year. My gut feeling is that traditionally it's not going to be too different than what was utilized last year. Although there are products and chemicals that they're going to switch up because you don't want the acclimation to chemicals to occur. And so I can definitely take a look at what was done last year. But like I said, I haven't been aware of that, and generally they're not. We're not going to push out the information on the chemicals that are going to be used until we definitively know what the chemicals are going to be used. But
Okay.
like I said, we can take a look at last year and see, if there's anything in there.
Do any of you ever swim in the water? No. I used to go out
No.
when I was cleaning my bank. I used to go out there in my shorts, and when I came out, my skin would be tingling. So now I don't go into that water unless I got my waders on, and I never let my dog go out and retrieve out of it anymore. So let me see. Last week I had 30 people in my meeting, and it's growing, and we have a lot of interest in the water condition in our canals and lakes, and we want to see it cleaned up. We want to see it dredged. We want to get rid of the ivy. And whether we got to create a tax or a fee for property owners, I don't have a problem with that. But we got to figure out a way of paying for dredging and cleaning and getting the water so that it's safe to go in. I'd like to be able to throw a ball out there for my dog and not think in a couple years he's going to have cancer or something. So we're an active group, and we want to do things that help our community. So if we can get involved with you guys, sounds like I should have come talking to you all along. But if we can get involved with you guys and have a couple spokespeople that can come and talk to us, and we would be more than happy to help in any way we can to, further things along.
Okay. Did you have anything else, Mike?
No, I would just like to have a contact person that I could get hold of and talk to, and then set something up so they can come and talk to my group.
I'm your neighbor. You can always just scream across the canal at me if you'd like, or you can drive on over and we can always chit chat.
What's your name?
I'm Steve Borba, the owner of the boathouse.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that was you. I will come over and talk to you about it then.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
You,
but what I am a little curious on is I have not heard of the Citizens Action Group before, and you said that it's been around for 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I just want to make sure that I understand what the concern is for this group on the water for the waterways. Is the concern about the overall cleanup of the waterways, including the weeds, or is it that there are herbicides that are used to treat the waterways, or can you kind of expound on that just a little bit so we know?
All the above. They don't like
all the above.
They don't like the herbicides being used. I know, and you probably know this too. When I first moved here, the frogs used to be deafening. I mean, I would sit in my living room and watch TV and they would almost drown out my TV. And now the frogs every year, the frogs get quieter and quieter.
Oh, no.
Why is that? What's happening to the frogs? They're disappearing.
What about the fish?
The fish too. I mean, come on. Sometimes you get a fish with 3 eyes out there.
Yeah.
Can I say something
Okay.
about frogs?
Yes, go right ahead.
When we've lived out here for 12 years. And when we first moved out here, you could hear the frogs. And then for a long time, there were no frogs. But what we've noticed out here on Fishhook is that in the past, I would say 3 years, the frogs are back, which means at least on Fishhook, the water quality has improved or they wouldn't be here. I don't know about other areas of the waterways, but here the frogs have come back.
That's why I think we need further testing throughout the waterways.
I know the frogs I'm
Okay.
hearing out there aren't water frogs. They're tree frogs, stuff that are in the weeds. They're not really in the water, but I haven't seen any frogs in the water. I have seen turtles, but maybe 1 or 2. This thing used to be loaded with turtles from what I understand, but not anymore.
Okay, well, the herbicides are one thing, the ivy's another thing.
Right.
And then the dredging. Last year, I took my boat in October and I went down Lake Menard to go to the dock to pull my boat out. And I wasn't really paying attention because I thought I had plenty of room. But before I knew it, I was in less than a foot depth of water and I buried my prop. And it took me a while to get out of that situation and then get over to a deep enough spot where I could paddle out and start my motor again. So, I mean, is there a problem why we?
Yeah,
can't
we do. We know. Yeah, we know about that over there, Mike. We know about that, and it's something that we have talked about numerous times. And the whole issue about dredging and whatnot, that's not falling on deaf ears. So, say again. Demucking. Absolutely. Which Fishhook could certainly use, and my clothes can attest to that. But Mike, thank you very much. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? Because this is your time.
Just like to have a contact for someone to come talk to us at my meeting. So either you or Joe.
All righty. Well, if you have a minute, again, give me a holler or something, and you and we can sit down and talk about it, and then we could come up with who would be the best person to go over and talk to you at your meeting.
Okay, because all we want to do is help.
Outstanding. Okay, thank you very much.
You bet.
I appreciate that. All righty. Sarah, do we have anybody else who's logged on? Any other guests?
We just had Daryl Prouse log on. Daryl, do you have a public comment?
Nope, I'm just listening in. Thank you.
Then that would be everyone, Steve.
Okay. And Sarah, did we happen to get anyone who sent an email that needs to be read?
No, sir.
No? Okay, perfect. All righty. So we are down to the good of the order. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start out here really quick on the good of the order. And it's about some emails that I have received over the last couple of weeks. And I wanted to address those and get those as part of the minutes. And I will be contacting these citizens myself. But first one is one that was sent from Linda Mott to OS Planning. And that was about just wondering if there are any plans to treat Duck Lake for algae in 2021. And so what I wanted to just add to that is, and maybe this is just a little bit of education, but we don't treat for algae. So the treatment would be for the herbicides would be used for any of the weeds that would be there. And, I'm certainly not scientific about this, but I think that, when we look at all this algae and as Grant, use the word demucking, with all of that biomass that we have full of our entire waterway system, that algae has definitely been around all year long. I've been here for 4 years and I've seen algae in the water in every part of the fresh waterway system all year long. It just seems that in certain areas, maybe it's getting a little worse, and also maybe starting to get a little more thick in some areas than other areas. That's my observation. But I will get back to Linda Mott on this. Next one is an email that was sent to me by Bob, and it was from Joanne Kelsnick and Kathleen McKinney, who live on Otsego. And that was sent to me actually by two people. One, it was sent to me by Bob, and the other one was sent to me by Scott, the city administrator. And this is about the possible blue-green algae that was around their dock on the Bell Canal on Otsego. And so what that leads us into getting the proper equipment to test this. And I know, Nick, that you have sent me the stuff, and what I need to do is I really need to get a sit down with Bruce so that we can figure out what the equipment is, or maybe I just need to contact Doug Dorling and find out if what you gave to me is the correct equipment. But okay. Oh, they did. Okay. All right. So then once we get that equipment, that would be something that we would be able to get out and go and check the different blue-green algae. But Nick, do you have, has anybody contacted you over the last 3 weeks about that? About the equipment?
Not about the equipment. I was going to say I was
not about the equipment
on the email.
Okay, gotcha. All righty. So unfortunately, I would have loved to have gotten out on the boat and go over there and check for that, but we don't have the equipment to do that right now. So what would be, and this would be for either Nick or Scott, but just asking, what would be the step that we should take if we don't have the equipment? That would be to contact the Grace Harbor Health and have them come out and check that?
Hello.
Yeah. Hey, Scott, I don't
Hello?
know. I can see you talking. I can hear you talking in the other room, but I'm not hearing it come across the system here. So I'll go ahead and jump onto that. So there's a couple of different ways. The health department, obviously they do that on a regular basis. They are, facilitating sampling all throughout the region. They're staff limited as well. I do have a couple of samples or sample collection points, collection kits, I'm sorry. And so I can run down there and collect the sample. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. And so I wanted to touch base with Scott this afternoon and kind of see how we wanted to play that out. So I believe I sent an email out, last year that kind of outlined the general framework, and so in the absence of testing, notification to us, notification to the county, I think is a great first step. The tough part is either the county or the city staff, may not have the time to come out and conduct the testing. And so likely what will happen is it was raining all morning. And so that may not be there. I know for a fact that site in particular, Christina Hollitz and I from the county went out to her site last year, after the notification, and we weren't able to see anything. And so it had dispersed already, and we didn't see any other blooms, later in the year. And that was an early in the year situation, if I recall correctly. So But from a policy standpoint, notification to the city, notification to the county, is the simple way to do it. The tough part is that turnaround time is not, wonderful at this point in time. So we'll do what we can, but I'd love to get our hands on that meter. That way we can find out if it's hot, then it's obvious, hey, let's go out, collect the sample, confirm it in a lab, and off we go. Again, we're not going to put postings out based on the results from that meter. Everything that we're going to post is going to be based on lab results, which is a sample that's collected and sent off to the lab. But it's going to give us great indicators to say either positive or negative. And so it'll help, assuage concerns and, react appropriately when there are positive hits. So big piece is let's see what we can do to get our hands on the equipment.
I think so. I think that's good. And I'm going to be in touch with you here, Nick, about that, because we definitely need to put that one to bed. Thank you very much, Nick and Scott. I appreciate your time on that. Okay, so that's all that I have for good of the order. Phyllis?
I have nothing.
Nothing. Grant?
Yes, I've got a recommendation. Who do the rakes belong to? Corporation? Wednesday, when we have a meeting of the corporation, I'm going to recommend that we pick up about 4 lightweight grappling hooks.
There you go.
I can put line on them, and they are really effective at pulling branch and debris and weeds out of the water. And so they can be checked out along with the rakes, and they're invaluable because people are not going to go in the water and try to snake those things out. When they can throw a barb in there and pull it out.
Yeah.
I can put on about 30 foot of line, and it'll float, so you don't have to worry about losing them. And it makes it a lot easier for the land property owners to keep their beach clear.
Yes, it does.
All righty. Thank you, Grant. Greg?
Nothing from me.
Thank you. Joe? Hello?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. I was sitting here talking and I realized I didn't have me unmuted. So anyway, no, nothing new, but I am glad to hear that we have an action committee in Ocean Shores that that's concerned about the water too. It's nice to know people are involved.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. And Pam?
Nope, I'm still relearning.
You'll get caught up really quick. All righty. All righty. So let's see. Adjournment. It is 3:05. Go ahead.
Steve, this is Susan. If
Yes.
I may, I have something for good of the order, and I'm not sure that you guys know this. I was on a Zoom meeting last week with Greater Grace Harbor, and they had a presentation on tourism in Grace Harbor. And the convention center, the general manager, Diane Solem, said this year they are marketing our fresh waterways. And I thought you might like to know that if you hadn't been told that yet. And I don't know quite what that means in terms of what, but when I heard Mike say that he had a tingling when he got into the water, I'm concerned that if we start getting more tourists in here, we might want to be concerned about what people are going to be doing or shouldn't be doing and so on. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Might be something for a conversation for another day.
Okay, thank you.
Steve?
Yes.
Can I say something to Susan? Susan, are you our liaison?
Yes, Pam.
Hi. This goes back history. I don't know if it's appropriate or not. Let me know if it's not. It's been a long, long, long time. Okay. And we have always said that that what brings people to Ocean Shores is our waterways. That's why they come, you know. And we have been trying, the corporation and the board, for, my God, you could say a decade almost, to get them to do something with the north end and with the dredging. And we keep getting told, oh, we haven't forgotten you. Oh, we haven't forgotten you. Well, we don't need a pat on the back. I'm just going to be blunt. We need something done. We need some action. And, you know, the city is going to have to step up and provide the funding. And if you're our liaison, it would be appreciated for you to push that. Now, I don't know if everybody agrees with me, but I tend to be kind of blunt.
I appreciate that, Pam, and I can tell you that we've had several conversations at council we did during the budget session. So it is on our minds very much. I think COVID really did push us back in terms of the north end of the Grand Canal. We talked about that at the last meeting here, that we hadn't moved ahead because we wanted public input, but that we could perhaps look at doing things a different way. And I'm sure that Steve and Nick are working on that. And maybe we could even do a survey. We've got a survey out right now on the crosswalk on Point Brown. And I wonder if maybe, Scott, we couldn't have a survey that just for the people who live in Ocean Shores, are they also concerned about fresh waterways? Do they think this is a priority? Maybe if we could get that sent out and we could have more of a sense of what we need to do and where we need to put our money. Is that something that we could do you think?
Did he not hear you?
What was that, Susan, was that directed at Nick or me?
It was directed at Scott, because I'm assuming he would be the one that would be in charge of doing something like that, Steve. Just a thought. You don't have to answer, Scott. It's just a thought.
Yeah.
If you wanted more input, I know you're excited about the fact that Mike has a group now that's pushing forward. A number of people were at my meeting this morning. They really want something done. So there really is an interest. And if we've got a way to reach more of the citizens in Ocean Shores, maybe we could do that through an online survey. Tell us what you think.
Okay, well, it's definitely something to consider. I know what survey you're talking about for the Point Brown sidewalk. Something to consider, I guess, when it comes to the North End Grand Canal.
Steve, what I'm thinking is that, and you're also passionate and have worked so hard, as has the corporation. And long before I was even the liaison, I've been involved with you all. And it just seems that so many of the conversations are just that. I have to agree with Pam. I know the frustration, and that we need to get everybody involved, everybody's input. The fresh waterways are important to everyone, not just the people who live on the fresh waterways. And I think they would like to see the improvements and the things done as well. So just a thought to expand the horizons, if you will, and get everyone in Ocean Shores on board with doing something in the future, rather than just continually doing the spraying.
Okay.
And then it justifies the council spending the money, Steve. This is what the council needs. I can't go back to the council and say, I was here at the Fresh Waterways today and they want us to get busy doing this and this. We got to have 7 people who decide that this is a priority. And the more citizens that we hear from, obviously, the better.
Mm-hmm. Well, so what I would like, Susan, if you have time, is over maybe within the next week or so, if you could contact me and come up with a good time where we could talk on the phone. You don't do any meet in person, do you?
I could certainly meet you in person, Steve. I have no problem with that, just large groups.
Okay, all right. Well, we could meet, and I'd like to hear more about what your group is talking about and what they're looking for. And we can certainly figure out, we can drive our meeting agendas maybe around those issues and have that discussion. Other citizens, anybody is welcome to be at this meeting and they can give their opinion, and that is heard. And none of the members here are closed-minded or nothing falls on deaf ears. However, as you know, as a board, all we can do is recommend to the city in what direction we think that, whether it's the budget-wise or whether it's working with different departments to, like the Grace Harbor Stream Team and things like that, or Department of Fish and Wildlife. Those are all things where we can try to coordinate and try to get everybody together. But I will tell you, since I have been chair, which is going on almost 2 years, I have to say that today is the most visitors we have had in a meeting since I have been chair. So here we are in May. And this is exactly what I had put out a year ago. When here we are in May and we're getting ready to treat the waterway system, and now a whole bunch of people want to come forward and want to say something about treating the waterways. I would have to say, where was everybody in the meetings that we had in October, November, December, January, February, March, April, which you, Susan, as well, have been part of these meetings. And this is the first time that I even knew that you had citizens that were concerned about the fresh waterways.
Well, I have
So
to say,
if people want the waterways to go, if the citizens want the Fresh Waterways Advisory Board to concentrate on certain things, then the citizens need to come forward and advise us about that. I mean, I'm going in the direction that I thought was good for the fresh waterways and for everybody to enjoy the different aspects of the waterways, not just one aspect of it, but all of the aspects, right? Which include doing something with the weeds.
Mhm.
If the citizens want to come to the meeting, and especially now that we've been doing it on Zoom, then I invite them to come. I want to hear, and I have actually said that I want to hear from the citizens. But now here we are getting ready the RFP was done. It went before council. Everybody approved it. Got hung up on. Hello?
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
You can hear me? I think I got hung up on. At least I thought I did. But so that, Susan, back in your ball court with that.
yes, and today, thanks to Mike, who joined my meeting, is when this interest came up to this particular point, and people said, oh, we should go and participate in the fresh waterways. So this is how it's come full circle. Mike's been having his meetings. He brought it up at mine, and now here they are. And I am very grateful that they have decided to come forward. So it's a good thing. It is frustrating. I know what you're saying, Steve, as it is for us at council quite often when we've made a decision and then people will come in public comment. We say the same thing. Where were you last week before we made the decision? It's just the nature of the game. But I am glad to see people are interested now and will be participating with you. I think it's a good thing.
Steve, can I say something real quick to you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Who is this?
This is Mike.
Yes.
The group I originally had was together for about 2 years, and it was a very highly political group. We worked really hard to try to get Lauren Culp elected. And then at the end of the political season, I started a new group that, after everything that transpired with the elections, I just wanted to see a group get together that wanted to help things in Ocean Shores and to hell with everybody else.
Yes.
So I started another group. It kind of springboarded off the original group. And we've been meeting for a couple months, and we've been brainstorming and taking apart our list and trying to see what things we wanted to work on. So it's been about the last 4 weeks now that we've been talking about the waterways. So it hasn't been something we were talking about 2 or 3 years ago. It's just something that as a group, you know, all the things going on, this one kind of surfaced to the top of our list. One of the things that came to the top of our list. And that's why we decided to jump in. Sorry it didn't come at a better time or earlier in the year, but the group wasn't just getting going at that time. And through the process of our meetings, we came up with this idea to help out and see what we could do to, you know, make things better. So like I said, I got a lot of volunteers who are willing to jump in and help and do whatever we have to do. So
Thank you.
it's
Okay,
something
thank you. I
positive
appreciate
happened.
that, Mike. I
Okay.
do. But again, I still, like I said, what I said to you earlier, I still would like, you know, if you want to meet up and, you know, come on over, we can talk a little bit more about your group. I would really like to hear that. And Susan, I would like to talk with you as well, one-on-one, if you have any time, and we can do that via phone if you're comfortable with that.
I'll get in touch with you, Steve. Thank you. I look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. So, and also my bad, Susan, I forgot to include you in the good of the order. That was my fault. All right. So here we are at the adjournment. It is 3:18 and I adjourn this meeting. The next meeting will be held June 7th, 2021 at 2 p.m. And right now via Zoom. If anything changes, I'll let you know. All righty. Everybody have a great day. Thank you.